Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Harrelson, CEO at Harrelson Group and fund manager of Cascade Angels. Welcome to our first Pub Talk of 2016, sold out Pub Talk. I was going to get up and say, hello, it's me. But stay tuned for more of that later. So I want to thank everyone for being here and turning out tonight. This is a great event, and we're going to really push this year to sell out each time. Title sponsors, I want to really thank you for your sustaining support, Carnot Peterson, Columbia Bank, and Zolo Media, and our supporting sponsors, Jones & Roth, Central Oregon Realtors Association, the COCC Small Business Development Center, OSU Cascades, and Ben Broadband Business. I'd like to introduce first Kurt Barker from Carnot Peterson.
Hey everybody, Kurt Barker from Carnot Peterson. I co-chair our wine giveaway committee. Must be 21 or older to win, we may card you. No, seriously, I wanted to say, before I get started, I actually co-chair the ETIP practice group, Emerging Business, Technology, and Intellectual Property. I do intellectual property law, employment, and litigation. Those are my loves in the professional world. And with my time here today, though, I wanted to try and do something fun but slightly educational, at least. My law partner, John Napier, back here in November, he told you about sick leave, right? Everybody knows everybody's got to have it now. You've got 10 or more employees, you're paying it out. Even less than 10, you've still got a sick leave policy now, right? We're all good. So here we go. Other January 2016 employment law trivia. Are you guys ready to go? Okay, the front row cannot win this contest. I'm just saying. Not to single you guys out, sorry. Oh, what are we giving away? 2 bags filled with Moragas wine. We've got about 3 bottles of either Legal Zin or one of their private or special reserve releases. So 3 bottles of wine in here. First question. It's January 2016. I hand my bright-eyed, bushy-tailed job applicant an application that says, have you been convicted of a crime, yes or no? Whoa, 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 whoa. Someone there raised their hand. Just hold that hand for just a sec. If yes, please explain, parentheses, don't worry. A conviction will not automatically disqualify you. Have I violated the law? Oh, shouting out answers? Do you guys not get how this works? You raised your hand first. What's the answer? I'm violating Oregon law. Are you 21? Oh, you better card this guy. Annie, can you help me out? Okay, Annie Nelson from our office agreed to help out, and I totally forgot to introduce her. Thank you, Annie. All right, seriously. Yeah, under 20, looking under 27. Sorry, man. Yeah, I wish I did. Last question. It's as of January 1, 2016. How long of a time period may I enforce a non-compete agreement for my former employee in Oregon? Oh, I got an answer here. What is it? Oh, 0. That is a really common misconception. Californication is coming our way still, but we can still enforce a non-compete in Oregon if you do it right. Tons of requirements. Oh, that person over there was next? Oh, 3 years. So, well, not really close. I think you were next. What's this? 5 years. Wow. No, lawyers are so, Pete, I'm so sorry. We love you, Pete, but no. Who said that? Okay, I hate to reward the shout out, but she said 18 months. Yeah, we had a 2-year cap. 2-year cap under our statute. The legislature, I said Californication, we keep getting harder and harder on non-competes. They shrunk it to 18 months, so watch out if you've got an old agreement. You might need to draft differently. See your lawyer. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
All right, people. I have something to say about this. This winning here over here. Last time, this particular group won a trip to Portland, and and actually stood up and did a happy dance. And this time they're winning wine, but they decided to be more subdued. There we go. Thank you so much. Okay, moving right along. Probably a good idea. I'd like to introduce Corey Allen from Columbia Bank. Corey?
Tough crowd tonight. Tough crowd. Okay. So last several times I've been one-upped by the attorneys with wine, so I brought beer. So I have a question also, and I do need a hand raised. I do want to give this out. So a bat and a ball cost $1.10. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Right here. 10 cents. That is incorrect. That is correct. 5 cents. And can you explain why it's 5 cents? That is correct. If it was 10 cents, it would be $1.20. I'm not done, Julia. She's already trying to cut me off, too. What is going on around here? Aaron, did my check clear? All right, sorry. So I'm Corey Allen. I work with Columbia Bank. Specifically, I manage the commercial banking group down here on Wall Street. We do commercial real estate, lines of credit, term loans. Basically, if you're a business and you need money, we typically are involved somewhere or another. And I actually just wanted to mention, this is industry specific. I know I'm trying to keep it quick. Everybody always says, do you get nervous at these things? I'm like, no, not speaking. It's Julie's devil eyes she gives me when you stand up here too long. Anyway, so I want to talk about something that happened that affects every single person in this room. Suspense, right? Okay, so last month, actually, in December, for the first time in 7 years, we had a change. Does anybody know what that change was? And it affects everyone in here. You guys should all know this. The Feds raised rates, right? December 17th. It has been since 2008. We've had the exact same interest rate, the Fed fund rate, which is 0.25%. Who cares about the Fed funds rate, right? Well, you should. The Fed fund rate basically is what banks borrow overnight money with, back and forth. So again, why does it relate to you? Well, the Fed, what does tie directly to that is the prime rate. Prime is 3% over what the Fed fund rate is. Everyone should know what prime rate is in here, right? Credit cards, operating lines of credit, things like that are all tied directly to prime. So as that goes up, obviously, your cost of borrowing money goes up. To put this in perspective, back in 2006, does anyone remember 2006, right? Glory days, everything's going up. We don't need to worry about cash flow. They're going to sell it. They'll pay us back that way. Prime was actually 8.25. That means the Fed fund rate was, yes, that's right. Somebody's listening to me. That's so exciting. 5.25. So you think about that. Rates have been 3.25 since 2006. Now they just went up 0.25%. But borrowing money at 3.25 versus 8.25, it's a $5,000. That's for every $100,000 you borrow annually. That's a $5,000 difference. So I think just looking at that change in the market and seeing where we've been and where we were in 2006, it's just very interesting to me. The general outlook, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to go Dana Bratton here and tell you when it's going to happen. Not everybody got that, but that's okay. I probably shouldn't have said that. Anyway, the outlook is they meet 8 times a year. They're talking about generally raising rates another 0.25% every other meeting. What that would mean to us today, if that really does happen, is prime would go from 3.5% currently to about 4.5%. Still very low cost of money. Actually, in 2006, I believe 2004, prime was right around 4.25%. So it's not like it's crazy. The world's ending. Oh my gosh, I can't believe rates are going up. So money's still very cheap right now. It's a great time to borrow. Not that I'm biased, but anyway, everyone, you have a great night. It was nice seeing you, and enjoy.
Yeah, we did. Okay, and next up, Julie Brinks from Zolo Media. Julie?
Thanks, Julie. I think we have dueling scarves tonight, and we got same color coordination even. So I'm really thrilled to be here and for Zolo Media to be a part of supporting this great event. What a wonderful opportunity to see all the creativity and the entrepreneurialism here in Central Oregon. And so we are a sister company to Ben Broadband. For those who aren't as familiar with Zolo Media, we own KOHD, the ABC affiliate, KBNZ, the CBS affiliate. We also program and manage COTV, where you see all your local high school sports and City Club tapes and just a lot of community content. So we have a lot of things that are happening at Zolo that I want to share with you. I do not have wine. I'm sorry. I don't have beer either. But I do have some wonderful mugs for all our speakers. So when they are coming up here, we've got a little gift for them because we appreciate them coming and sharing with us. So what's happening at Zolo? Well, first of all, on your tables, you see the CO4 Visitors Network brochure. The last time I was with you, we had just launched that channel. And I'm here to say that going into our third season, quote unquote, is 3-month seasons, if you will, of the Visitors Network channel. We've tripled the number of businesses participating in the channel, and we are finding right around 10,000 unique homes per month in the community actually watching the channel, because we can monitor that on the cable system, along with all the hotels and the visitors. So we are actually gathering an audience of locals as well as visitors. So that's really a great niche product that we've introduced. So what have we been doing since then? A whole lot. I want to give a shout out to Preston Calcutt and his team at 5 Talent. They are incredible to work with. Our marketing director, Michelle O'Hara, and his team have developed what I would like to really dub as a forward-thinking, video-centric website for Zolo Media. If you haven't had the chance to go out and look at it, which you may not have because we really just launched it and we're just starting to promote it, it's where you will find everything video in Central Oregon. Brand new stories, archive stories, long form of the basketball and football games, just anything you want to see that's happening on video in Central Oregon is housed on that website. So we're very excited about that. We also launched a daily online topical news product called the Daily Upload. So every day our teams are out. You all know my windows with beautiful recorded features. These are daily topical important events going on and stories going on in Central Oregon, uploaded to the web, not to television, to the web. And you will also be able to follow us and get links about those stories that you can tap into on Facebook and Twitter. So check that out as well at zelomedia.com. Last and not least, I know you got the hook. You're going to take me off shortly. Our parent company, TDS, had a lot of faith in what we were trying to do with this business and basically starting it and growing it. And we are just completing about a $500,000 renovation and investment in expanding a brand new television studio and live production control room to be able to start bringing live content daily with a lot of great storytelling to Central Oregon. To that end, I want to briefly introduce our new manager of news and local content, Curtis Vogel, in the back. You all will get to know Curtis at another Pub Talk. He comes to us directly from the Today Show. And so he has identified Bend as the place he wants to live and raise his family and really bring great storytelling to this community. So we are thrilled to have Curtis join us and our management team at Zolo, and many more things to come soon that we'll be sharing with you. So again, thank you for allowing us to support and participate in this wonderful opportunity to see the creativity and growth in Central Oregon. Thanks.
Well, thank you, sponsors, for your support of the great trifecta, entrepreneurs, pizza, and beer. So I'd now like to just give a little bit of a shout out to the EDCO staff that's in attendance. And if you have an interest, every day I meet somebody that actually doesn't really know the breadth of work that EDCO does. So I really encourage you to meet these people if you haven't before. And what I'll do is I'll read their names, and then if they could all stand and we could give them one round of applause, that would be great. So Aaron Chayet, Operations Manager, Brian Vieira, Venture Catalyst, Natalie Dent, Marketing and Communications Manager, Matt Sybrant, Key Industry Coordinator, John Stark, Redmond Manager with Ready, Janet Burton, Lapine and South County Manager, Aaron Riley, Membership and Events. So if you could all stand, and we'll give you a round of applause. Thank you for your hard work. And thank you. Okay. And last but not least, EDCO's Executive Director, Roger Lee, for a quick director's minute. Roger.
Thanks, Julie. I'm going to make this quick tonight. We got a huge lineup here and lots of stuff going on tonight. So I'm just going to talk about people. You talked about some of our team. I'll just mention that we lost 3 team members since our last pub talk, all to more gainful employment. So I see one of them out here. I'm going to embarrass him. One of our longest standing interns came back to us the second year, unbelievably, and got picked up by BBC winner Odysseus, Cameron Neal. So thanks, Cameron, for all your service to us, and congrats on the new job. Ty Kelly, I think, is roaming around here somewhere as well. Ty, there he is. Ty, congratulations on your new employment at Global Strategies, one of the kind of unsung great companies here in the tech world. So he's out there making it happen in the world of SEO. So congratulations, Ty. And thank you guys for all the great work that you've did for us this last year. We're also excited to bring on Thomas Rowley. So Tom, are you in this room? Okay, there we are. So Tom is our new Ben manager, taking the baton from Robin Sharp. Tom is a Texan, just ask him about the Longhorns, and brings a background in economic development policy and nonprofit leadership. So as so often happens, we'll be learning from him as he's learning from us. Please take some time to introduce yourself to Tom and give him a warm welcome here. I'd also like to give a shout out to Sam Lambert. I don't know if he is here tonight. He attends a lot of pub talks. But he and his team, along with Greg, his dad, with Mid-Oregon personnel, did the search, and just want to thank them for a successful process there. And then I'd also like to officially welcome Ben Hempson. Ben, are you here tonight? I don't know if there he is. Excellent. I thought maybe you'd be here tonight. So Ben is the new City of Bend business advocate. He's not an EDCO employee, but works for the City of Bend, kind of somebody that we're going to be working with closely. His predecessor in that was Carolyn Egan, who now heads up the Economic Development Department for the city. And so I just encourage you to get a hold of him as well. He and Tom are going to be working closely together to help companies move and grow here in Oregon, in Bend, Oregon. But certainly a good resource for you. And then last but not least, EDCO's manager in Prineville, Carolyn Irvin, is not here tonight because she's in or about to go in the hospital to have her baby. So hopefully that's going to happen this evening. So good thoughts for both of her and, as you would say, that baby, or that darn baby. So thanks again for coming tonight, and have a great pub talk.
I also wanted to mention that I volunteer as the MC for EDCO Pub Talks, and they've asked me to come back for another year, so you're stuck with me, I think, until the end of 2016 at least. So thank you for bearing with my humor and the stats that I reel off to you on occasion. I really appreciate everybody's patience and interest in all of that. So let's talk about EDCO's newest members. Interior Office Solutions, welcome. Oregonians for Better Health, Inc., Summit Financial Group, Kelly Herman and Company, Super Hackle, LLC, Hexagon Business Success Services, Glass House Grown, Mark Kroll with Ferguson Wellman, Basic Solutions, help me with this, Pavelski Legacy Partners, Christina Weiss with House & Company Realtors, Ruby Farms, and Alfalfa Valley Farms. Thanks for joining EDCO. Okay, so now for the fun stuff. Are you ready? Okay, good deal. So we're going to have a little bit of a set change here with this device. I think, did we decide to leave it here or put it up on the stage? We're going to leave it there? Okay. I know, I was like, when I came in, I was like, well, that's interesting. Okay. So now, for tonight's Real Stars, a 3-woman team from the Seven Peaks School's internal Shark Tank competition. Please welcome to the stage, to give the guys who are going to be pitching tonight a run for their money this evening, Lane, Connor, and Allie with the no-touch toilet.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm Connor.
I'm Allie. And I'm Lane.
I have a question for you. Have you ever had to go to the bathroom and you look down in the toilet seat and there's pee all over the toilet seat or there's pee left in the toilet? Well, we have a solution for you.
The no-touch toilet.
So this product is generally for guys, but girls can use it too. So when guys have to go to the bathroom, they have to touch that gross, germy, bacteria-filled toilet seat. And nobody likes to touch that, especially public restrooms. So they leave it down and then they pee all over the toilet seat and it's like super messy for the next person who uses it.
There will be a pedal at the bottom of the toilet, and when you step on it, the seat will lift up. As long as your foot is on the pedal, the seat will remain up. Once you take your foot off the pedal, it will go back down.
No touching necessary.
In addition to that, there's also a motion sensor that senses when you get up and walk away, and it'll automatically flush for you. It'll cost $15 to make. We'll sell it for $30 and a 2-pack for $50.
The product will be sold in a kit that attaches to your own toilet and is super easy to install. There will also be a video on our website that will show you step-by-step how to install it.
There's about 300 million people in the U.S. We are targeting 3 million of those people to buy our product.
If we sell our product to 3 million people and we make $15 off of each kit, our profit will be $45 million.
We are looking for a good business partner that can help us progress and move forward with this product. So, who wants to take a sanitary step?
Thanks.
Okay. So remember, I'm gonna ask you a question, and then I'm gonna ask people if they want to ask you a question. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, tell me a little bit more about what inspired this and how you came up with the idea.
Well, let's just say I have brothers, and they, I guess, aren't very sanitary, and I just got so sick of it. And so I thought about it, and I'm like, wow, this could really help me. So, yeah.
Huge market need. Questions from the audience? Yes. Where will they make the product?
So we're thinking about making the product at Do-It-Yourself Cave. So we just want to make the prototype there first and see how that goes. So, yeah.
So if you get your sanitary partner, you'll have a prototype, and then you'll go into more mass production later. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Does the pedal run on a battery, or how does it work?
So there's going to be like a trash can, sort of, one of those trash cans where you step on the pedal and the trash can lid would lift up. So there'll probably be something like that goes under it, like a sticker, I guess, like something like that, or something on the side of it that helps it lift up the toilet.
Okay. No electronics. Yes, Pam.
Is there anything else like this on the market today?
Is there anything else like this on the market today?
There is something called the Easy Step that lifted just lifted the lid, not the actual seat. And so that's different than our product.
Yeah, and the pedal's on the side, so.
Other questions? Doing so great. Other questions? Yeah.
How much money are they looking for from their sanitary partner to get the prototype made?
I believe that that's something that you don't want them to answer right now. Okay, we're just having a little consultation. Okay. How did you come up with your pricing if you don't have a prototype yet?
Well, I guess we sort of discussed it with a few people and got their best input on how much it would cost. Yeah. So, yeah, we're just going off that. But we can change the prices if that's what we need to.
Well, I've met a lot of companies that didn't do that before they came and talked to me, so good job. Okay, one last question, and then we'll close it up. Yes?
When you go to shut it, is it going to make a big loud sound, or is it going to be quiet?
It's going to
Okay, yeah, when you shut it, is it going to make a big loud sound, or does it close quietly?
It'll close slowly and quietly. I don't know if you've seen the other toilets, but there are some toilets where the seat goes down like really slowly, and so it doesn't make a loud noise. Yes.
Yeah. No workers' comp claims there. Okay. You know what? Thank you so much. But before you leave, I have this tradition of something that we do here.
Is it a selfie?
It's a right hand. So turn and face that way, and then we take it with the audience behind us.
Oh, okay. Are we going to post this?
Yeah. You think? Okay. Good job. Thank you very much. Good job, girls. Fantastic work. Really good job. So let's go on now to Peter Askew, co-founder of DreamBeam, a company born out of the OSU Cascades entrepreneur class. I understand there's a few beavers in the house tonight to cheer you on. Peter? Do you want a selfie too?
I would love a selfie, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Very good. First, I just want to complain a little bit about whoever's having me go on after these ladies who did a fantastic job. It really seems a little unfair. But aside from that, my name is Peter Askew. I'm co-founder of DreamBeam. It's a nightlight that is going to help your kids sleep better through the science of light and sound. My co-founder is Anna Swope over here. Say hi, Anna. She is the top-rated business student at OSU Cascades this term and will come on full-time as soon as she's finished. What really started this idea for us was, took capstone class last year with Kim Vieira, and it was kind of a long-term Shark Tank class. We developed a product from beginning to end, and my group won that contest. Going forward, I decided I love this idea, I want to pursue it, and that's kind of led me here through a rather short road. So I want to take everybody on a little journey for the nightlight. Imagine you have had a terrible night with your kids. They've been up 8 times over and over again, and they won't stay asleep, up every hour. The next morning, every parent knows that's going to be a bad day. You just know when they get up, you look in their little eyes, and you're like, oh, sweetie, this is going to be a terrible day. Okay, here we go. That problem is twofold. It's not just that they didn't sleep enough, which obviously they didn't. It's also that the quality of the sleep they get when they've gotten up to go to the bathroom and turn the light on, when they've gotten up to tell you that they've had a bad dream. After they get up and they turn the light on, there's a quality of sleep issue that's caused by a lack of melatonin production. Our product is going to address that. What our product is it's a small nightlight, moon-shaped, that's going to have a red spectrum light, a motion detector, and a soothing sound generator. You know, your bubbling brook, your ocean waves, all the things that you have in your standard generator. What that is going to do is the red light has been proven through thousands of studies. Blue and white light, like the one shining right there, is terrible for melatonin. When you throw a light switch on in the middle of the night, it takes 40 to 60 minutes for your melatonin levels to recover to where they were before you turn that light on. If you're sleeping in a room with ambient blue or white light, it will suppress your overall melatonin levels all night between 20 and 92%, which means that even though you're asleep and you feel like you're resting, your melatonin is not sufficient to keep you in those deeper parts of the sleep cycle to get the really restful sleep you need. So to combat that, we're going to have the red light. Red light's been proven through these same studies to not have, to not have the same diminishing effect on melatonin levels that blue and white light has. The soothing sound is generated to, it's not the fact that the car drives by in the middle of the night that wakes you up, because the car is outside, it's not that loud. It's the fact that sound operates in a whole spectrum of wavelengths. When the car drives by, it spikes the sound in one specific portion of the sound people can hear. It's not the spike in sound, per se, that wakes you up. It's the fact that there was nothing there before, and now there is. White noise generators, soothing sound generators, are designed to operate across the whole spectrum of sound that humans can hear, so that we don't have that punctuated sound, which is the real problem. So what's the market, though, right? 30% of children in the United States are estimated to have some sort of sleeping issue. Those 30% of children will spend 40% of their lives from the time they're born to the time they're 13 years old sleeping. That's 36 million children from that period of time. They're not getting the quality of sleep they need. Americans buy 90 million nightlights every year. That comes from the International Association of Home Inspectors, who spend a little bit of time in people's houses, so they know what's going through there. What that entails, or what that leads to, is a need for a product to solve this issue that most people don't even realize they're having. They think that their problems with their children's behavior is coming from some external factor, when a lot of these behavioral issues are coming from lack of sleep and lack of good quality sleep. What we're going to do is we're going to develop this nightlight. We've been working with eSpace Labs here in town. eSpace Labs, gentlemen over there, we've been working with them to develop a functional prototype, which should be ready in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Through our work with them, we know that the estimated cost for the product will be somewhere in the neighborhood of $16, 18 to 19 assembled and manufactured. We're going to price it at $50 initially and test the market's tolerance for that price point. We plan to do initial funding through Kickstarter. I've talked to Nikki Romer over at Hideaway Bottles and several other successful Kickstarter program runners, and they think that this idea just screams Kickstarter. There is a few competitors. We're not first to the market in the area of nightlights, obviously. There's a couple of people doing that, but no one is doing all these things together. Very few people are making a nightlight that operates in the red spectrum. The science is overwhelmingly in support of it. You can't look for a study on this topic and not find, you can't find a study that says, oh, blue light is great for your sleep. They're just not, they're non-existent. Because of that, there is some competitors operating in the space. There's a few companies out of China shipping their red night lights. Nobody's combined a red light with sound generation and motion detection. There is a rather expensive product by Sleep Number. They're releasing a nice new bed, but that's $1,000. So I don't think we're probably not competing for the same customer base with them. Just a guess. So through this process, we've really been able to work with some great people. Kim is kind of really who pushed me to pursue this idea after the class. As I said, I've worked with eSpace, spoken with Nikki, Becca Williams. Edco has been exceptionally helpful in pitch coaching, in working with, what should I be looking at, connecting me with resources in the community to try and get this project moved forward. What that really leads us to, though, is the big need we have now is advisors in the specific space. We are looking for really two possible avenues. Aside from the Kickstarter, once we branch out into production, we're looking for two possible avenues: the children's product market and also the consumer electronics market. And that's just a set of knowledge that we really need specialized guidance on. And going forward, we think that it'd be very helpful to have somebody on our team just to give us some advice on what the best avenues are to approach those two markets and how to move forward. So I appreciate all your time. Ladies, an excellent job. And that's my pitch. I'm done.
You did a great job. Thanks.
It's hot in here.
And then stay here, and then I repeat the questions because there's people in the other room.
Oh,
Okay. I was going to ask you a question, but I got really sleepy. Does somebody have a question? Yes, Preston.
Since you said that very few people know they have this problem, how are you going to educate them?
Since very few people know they have this problem, how are you going to educate them?
That is a problem we're aware of. We know that educating consumers is difficult and expensive. Fortunately, there's no impediment to delivering that information. There's no difficulty. We can't say, oh, well, some scientists say, some sleep centers suggest. It's all one-sided. So it's really just about crafting that message and delivering it and getting it to people. We feel like Kickstarter is going to be an excellent avenue for that. It allows you to test the market, deliver it, and then also push that message and generate just press around a successful Kickstarter, which should help.
You know, I know somebody who used to work at the Today Show. He's back there in the, or maybe that's somebody you could talk to. Yes, back there.
Motion sensor is on the gizmo that's stuck in the wall. So the idea is the kid gets up in the middle of the night, walks past it, and kicks on the sound. Is that what you're saying?
So how is the device triggered to be useful?
Certainly, and of course, the one thing I forgot is one of the 3 key components of the device. The motion detector is good to about 6 meters right now, is what our tests say. So when the child sits up in bed, it'll kick the light on. The sound will be programmable, so you'll be able to have it on all night, just when they're falling asleep, kind of whatever's best for your child. But yes, they'll sit up, motion detector will kick on, stay on for a programmable amount of time that will let you say, well, it takes them 2 minutes to come in and see me or go to the bathroom and then go back off, and it'll fade out on your time schedule as well.
So there are a lot of adults that deal with sleep interruption. Does this solve that problem too? Or help with it?
Absolutely. 2 of the key things for adults sleeping is punctuated sound, like you talked about, and also being on our devices right up until we go to bed.
What do you mean?
You know, that thing right there. We spend a lot of time on these for some reason. I'm not totally sure why, but we do.
Yeah.
This white light suppresses melatonin. Red light doesn't do that. So if we can anything we can do to limit white light exposure in the evening is great. And we're cognizant of there's also a large senior market for this product. It needs some tweaks, but the feature set will be very similar.
What qualifies as a senior? No, sorry. I saw a question.
That's a loaded question.
Janet, and then over here, we'll ask a question.
Is there any possibility of the motion sensor being a warning detection for either a parent or for like an elderly dementia?
Oh, yeah. Could the warning, the movement detector be also a warning system for a child that's, or an adult that's on the loose?
Wait, was the question, are they on the loose or? So when my daughter was born, she was premature, and we had a motion sensor under her mattress to make sure that she was moving constantly, and it detected micro motions. The motion detector is not sophisticated enough to do that, but something we are looking at for an additional feature set down the road would be integrating with a motion sensor that detects micro motion and possibly replacing or augmenting that motion sensor.
Do we have an OSU question in the house? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
to make it bona fide, couldn't you collect data via this smart nightlight?
Yeah, what about collecting data via this smart nightlight?
It's almost like that question was planted by my co-founder because I forgot to mention it. So yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
Nobody will ever know. Absolutely. One of the long-term goals here is there's only 40 sleep centers in the United States that are certified to do children's sleep studies, which means there's just a total dearth of information on how children really sleep. Pediatricians think they know how long children sleep for and what the quality is and when they wake up and when they go to bed. The truth is that that's all dependent upon a parent's recording of what they think happened. The long-term benefit of a data set of how long children actually sleep could be hugely beneficial across a large range of applications, I think.
Great. I think that's all the time we have. Oh, we have one more question. Time for one more question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. How will the parents program this device to their time preferences for their child?
How will the parents program this device to their time preferences for their child? Or for themselves?
I'm
That was me editorializing.
I'm getting number 3. My son and daughter get number 1 and 2. I get number 3. So yes, for themselves
Yeah,
too.
they can. Okay.
We're going to start with a web app, so you'll be able to log into your computer or through your smartphone onto the web. Once the Kickstarter is completed, we will develop the native iOS and Android apps as well, and everything will be just laid out in there. You'll be able to program a new device, change settings on an old device.
Very good. Thank you, Peter, so much. You did a great job.
Thank you.
We got a bunch of pros here tonight on the pitching stage. It's just awesome. So I'd like to now introduce John Davis, co-founder of Steady Budget. And Steady Budget is a software platform aimed at improving digital marketing campaigns. John?
It's a podium, but there's no flat spots here. I'm a former G5er. I'm used to always having a beer in the hand at some point. All right. Okay. A little less nervous than I thought. I played golf in college, so you never quite know how nervous you're going to be until you're on the first tee. But we'll see. So when meeting with Brian and the Aarons at Edco to kind of plan the talk, that was also in there informing me that I was going to be going after the folks making the awesome invention with the toilet that were super smart and funny and awesome. They also told me to kind of focus on who I am, what we do, and why you should care. So we had toilet seat, easy problem to explain. Excuse me. Do you want your kids to sleep more? Definitely easier to explain. Let's talk about digital advertising. A lot more broad reach. So my name is John Davis. I moved to Bend in 2009 to work for G5. I see Dan around and Chris Crable is here. During my 4 years there, I saw the company grow from about 40 people to about 160 under Dan's leadership, and it was a really fun ride to be a part of and learned a lot through the process. So my focus there was those ads. When you Google something, all those ads that pop up everywhere, when you're on Facebook, those ads down the right, when you click one of those ads, somebody pays for that click. And the people designing those ads and making those ads are digital marketing companies like G5. So my department, when I was there, we were writing those ads and designing those campaigns for companies. I was able to go from analyst to senior analyst to department manager, fueled by the growth of G5, which is the advantage of working at a fast-growing startup with people that you're lucky enough to be around that trust you to kind of take some more responsibility. But I was able to see along the way a lot of the challenges we had as a company scaling to meet more and more client demand for an ever-growing digital marketing space. When I started at G5, our main pitch was go from yellow pages to digital ads. And so the market has really been growing. I saw the problems myself, so I was like to say that I would design the software that if it existed, I would still be at G5 doing that job because it would make it so much better. Digital advertising is a booming market. Over $150 billion will be spent on digital advertising this year. In 2017, it'll pass television as the largest advertising channel that exists for marketers to exploit. So what you have here when all the ads are popped up Google is you can't necessarily predict when somebody's going to click that. So the problem is it's not static cost. You can't say we're going to spend $10 today. It's only when people click. So one day you might spend $20, another day you might spend no dollars, depending upon if nobody liked your ads that day. The landscape is getting even more diverse. When I first started in 2007 in digital marketing, it was good enough to just have your clients on Google. They were about 85 to 90% of the market share of the digital advertising space, and you could kind of be covered by focusing on that. These days, there's, excuse me, Bing, Facebook, Twitter, where's Erin? Pinterest. She said she's on Pinterest, not Facebook. LinkedIn and all these places, and Google, even though it's had explosive growth now only makes up about 60% of the market share of digital advertising. So you have to have your clients' ads in more and more places, and that's where Steady Budget comes in. We really help pull all this data that companies like G5 are getting bombarded with into one place and make decisions like we should put our clients' money in Google instead of Facebook. G5's been a great partner. They're our first customer. They're my outsourced R&D department. All my friends still there as we were building the prototypes. I'm grateful, like I said, to Dan and Greg. I got a lot of on-the-job training, and my experience there really fuels a lot of decisions that we make day to day at Steady Budget. Also, they've been cool when I've recruited a few G5ers to come over and working for us, which always helps, as everybody knows, trying to find great people in Bend. It's a smaller market, so it's great that Dan's been nothing but supportive to us. So we can kind of take an example of a G5 client. arrangement to describe a little bit more about how we help. Client comes to G5, says, hey, I have $1,000 a month to spend on digital advertising. G5 says, great, that's what we do. They assign them an analyst. That analyst decides what keywords, when somebody types into Google, ads should pop up, what demographics in Facebook are best for this customer to be in front of. And after they get it all set up, that's when the hard work really starts. Every month, the client is saying, hey, how's my $1,000 doing? How's my $1,000 doing? My boss, Dave, who's around, I saw him somewhere when I was there, he used to always say, clients are just going to say, what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? Every month, month after month. And that was the real challenge when I was there, is managing that type of scale and showing improvement at a lot of these micro levels for clients. So traditionally what that looks like is, okay, let's go to Google, see how you did, download the report, pull it into Excel. How'd you do on Facebook? Download the report, pull it into Excel. How'd you do on Bing? Pull it in, draw it all into one place. And when I was at G5, I demoed just about everything in the market to try to make that process a little bit easier and better for our clients and get better results. A little bit of the problem was a lot of these softwares out there lump the data into our big pool of company data. So what they need is large amounts of data to make their decisions. And with a lot of situations, you've got a client in Cleveland. How'd I do? I want to improve. Client in Miami, how'd we do? Want to improve. And with these larger softwares, we were lumping all the data into one big umbrella and having trouble finding a lot of optimizations at times through these softwares to make decisions on these more granular levels. And that's where Steady Budget's really different, is upon setup, the analysts are making a lot more tighter campaigns and able to group the data into smaller sections, so an analyst can say, Cleveland, we need to make these decisions. Miami, we need to make these decisions. So that's really what we do. A lot of cases, there's a lot of tech there I'd be happy to talk to anybody about, but really why I think people in this room would find us really interesting is we built a great team. Our head of sales has a lot of industry experience, former G5er. Thanks again, Greg and Dan. Our development team is, I think, aliens sent from the future, and when you hear them talk about code sometimes, it sounds like future alien speak. I've written a fair amount of code in the past and wrote a lot of the prototype, and you'd think for all that they would throw me some bone and leave some of my code in there as they've come and gutted it. And for any tech people here, don't worry, you won't be dealing with any of my code. But if they wanted to leave, I would say, leave some little file in there, so I just have some line of code in there, so I can say I have code, and Chris, my CTO, is over here, will say, oh, when you compound that with all these queries, it'll slow load times 1/1000th of a nanosecond or something on the front end, and they can't even throw me that little bit of bone. But we're dealing with really important problems for clients. When clients would come to us at G5 and say, I entrust you with this $1,000, they want to see that not only is the $1,000 spent accurately, but it's spent in the right places. We have a lot of clients that deal with hundreds or thousands of potential customers that they're working with, and that's our end users, really G5. And when they're working with a lot of these different customers, a lot can slip through the cracks. You might get a $1,000 budget, but didn't check it in 4 days, and it's spent crazy, and it spent $2,000 or $200 over, and it takes time sometimes to gain that trust back from the client. We have solutions built in the platform that monitor in the background constantly, multiple times a day, where the spend's at compared to budget. And when you hit that budget, we auto turn off campaigns across all platforms, wait until the next budget cycle begins, turn them back on. And so that's a big solution for a lot of agencies managing at scale. Our users use our product a lot. They're logging into our system as opposed to logging in to Google, Facebook, and a lot of these places. So it's really job critical tasks that when we look at our logs, it's 4, 5, 6 times a day that they're logging in. We launched our premium product last summer. We're approaching $100,000 of annual recurring revenue this quarter. Our sales pipeline and projections put us well above $100,000 annual by next quarter. So we're growing and looking for anybody to help help us spread the word in product, marketing, sales. If you know any good people, send them our way. There's only so many G5ers. But we're really looking to expand on our momentum. None of us hit the Powerball a couple weeks ago, so we're always looking at any option that might help us fuel that growth in addition to our revenue. Thanks. Oh, yeah, good. Oh.
So, John, what's the single hardest problem that you guys have faced that you've overcome in the last 6 months?
I think one reason that I really was touting the development team was handling these challenges with dealing with the APIs, working with Google, Facebook, these big entities. They have a ton of security clearances that you have to abide by when dealing with their data. They have a lot of third-party requirements. So we always like to say if somebody's going to try to challenge or replicate what we're doing, we hope they've been coding for the last year and a half to deal with the data and the requirements that are coming down from these thousands of keywords, hundreds of thousands of keywords and data, and that infrastructure is a really hard problem to solve. So we're one of under 10 companies that can have a two-way sync with Google, Bing, Facebook currently, more coming soon. And what that means is we can read the data, and also from our platform, they can push changes out to a lot of these systems and make the changes right there so they never have to log in.
Cool, thank you. So questions from the audience? Yeah, Wendy.
You mentioned that G5 was your first customer, and it sounds like what you could do for any similar type of SEO type of company.
Yeah.
And so you took advantage of geography and connections here.
Yeah.
What is your plan to bring on more customers?
Okay, so you took advantage of local connections for your first sales. What's your broader play in terms of sales and customer acquisition?
Yeah, so right now, out of our current headcount of 6, 3, including myself, are devoted to sales and marketing. We've had a really broad, direct outreach, a lot of emailing, a lot of cold calling. We're starting to attend conferences now to get in front of more of the big prospects. The market is about 20,000 companies that are spending at the enterprise premium levels that we would look to sell to. So it's still a relatively small world, and the great thing about selling into a digital marketing space is that a lot of our prospects have Twitter accounts. They have a digital presence because they know the value. So that's really been, you can just do a quick Twitter search on a lot of the topics that our platform deals with and find a lot of qualified leads from big companies.
Great, thank you. Other questions? Aaron? Can you speak to your competitors in this space?
Yeah, we always like to say our biggest competitor is Excel, because a lot of companies are dealing with digital marketing. Really has only been a thing for about 10 years, 15 years at most, if you really stretch it. So a lot of these companies have been able to handle workflows in Excel, doing a lot of manual work, but now as digital marketing grows and they get more and more clients, their processes are breaking down. So we're really trying to have a lot of time savings. A lot of our analysts that use the app report saving 5 to 12 hours a week of manual work per employee. So for a company like G5 that has 10 analysts doing this type of work, that's a major cost savings.
One more question? Anyone? Oh yeah, there you go. Preston?
Yes, you said that, are you imposing your own best practices, processes, or are you adopting and adapting to client processes?
Are you imposing your best practices, or are you adopting best practices from the companies you work with?
So really core to kind of the data structure that we have is that a client has a budget that they want to spend, and that core best practice is really goes wide across the agencies and client relationships. There's always kind of a core budget that they're looking to spend. So that's where we're kind of working more in line with how agencies actually work as opposed to a lot of larger software solutions in the space that kind of dump all that into one place. I could talk about more later too, because we've developed an API that will be public facing, that will allow agencies that maybe want to fit our data into their cost, into their accounting reconciliation or some business processes with internal reporting dashboards can pull our data directly into their systems.
Great. Thank you, John. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Selfie?
I have to do it right-handed though, because I can only.
Okay.
So you have to move over here. And then. Thank you. Thanks, Julie. Okay. Okay, so I'd like to introduce Nick Hill, the CEO of Drink Tanks, to tell us what they've been up to and how the 128-ounce juggernaut is doing since its recent launch. Nick?
Not quite yet. I'll have you be Vanna in a second. There's a toilet over here if you guys didn't know that yet. I don't know how to operate this thing here. That's all right. Thanks, Aaron. I come from a family of 9. That thing would have been handy. Thank you, Julie. Real quick to start off, for those of you that aren't aware of Drink Tanks, before I kind of dive in and give you a highlight of where we've been in the past 18 months. Drink Tanks manufactures a double-wall vacuum-insulated growler. With that, we launched a lid system that we call our K-Cap accessory. The two products combined enable you to turn your growler into a personal keg, basically charging and dispensing out of the product, preserving the contents to over a week. We offer a lifetime warranty on all of our products, but what really is super exciting about our brand is we do all of our assembly right here in Bend, Oregon. We have 22 different components in our product. They're all our design. None of them are off the shelf. All of them are shipped into our facility here in Bend. We powder coat, engrave, and assemble, ship, QC, R&D, all in our facility right here in Bend, Oregon. So that's a real quick, brief description of what Drink Tanks does. What we've done in 2015, we have taken the consumer's experience with a growler and turned it into a lifestyle. I know that sounds funny. We launched our 64-ounce growler and our K-Cap in 2013. We launched it on a Kickstarter platform. We were looking for $30,000. We raised $260,000. But more importantly, what we were looking for was market research. It helped us evolve the product before we brought it to the market. In 2015, some of the real exciting highlights that we did, we tripled our manufacturing. That might not sound exciting, but if you have been in our facility, we put out 300% more volume in a very small footprint. We created 18 new jobs in Bend, Oregon, from assembly all the way up the chain. What I'm really excited about is in 2015, we grew our revenue 295% over 2014. We've been in operation for 2 years. Part of the most exciting thing, I think, as a startup, you get to hire and cultivate a team. Some of my team's here tonight. Actually, right over here, we have Matt McKenzie, customer service. Luke Kaluzny's in sales. Leslie's our sales director. In fact, I'd encourage everybody to come over here and introduce yourself to Leslie. She gave up a night of bunco to be here. Not sure what bunco is, but. So most common in the industry is a 64-ounce growler. We manufacture a growler that's double wall vacuum insulated. It has a double bale enclosure system. It's designed to hold up to 60 pounds of pressure. We guarantee it will not leak, and it has a lifetime warranty. Not to mention that every single component in this product was built by hand right here in Bend, Oregon. We also have a K-cap system, which is in a box, so you don't really get to see. I'll pull it out. Our K-cap turns your growler into the perfect growler and personal keg, charging and dispensing out of the growler, preserving the contents to over a week. So you mainly charge it and dispense out of it. This year, oh my gosh, wow. Okay, we're gonna jump right in here. This is our new product for 2015. This is our Juggernaut. This is a 128-ounce growler. It's the first gallon growler to the market. When we launched this in 2015, we also launched the Kegulator. The Kegulator is the first auto-regulating and dispensing product, or lid, combined with our growler, which enables you to regulate 0 to 40 psi in our growler. So you can serve beer, margaritas, Jameson, milk. Yeah, if you have kids, you got milk in here. Or if you're a home brewer, you can force carbonate in the product. Tonight we're going to give away 2 of these. The $155 value. Luke Kaluzny over here has got a software on his computer there. And if you can go onto Facebook, we just posted was it 25 best beers for Valentine's Day? Top beer lovers gifts. Golly, I'm out of it here. The latest post. Like it, share it. They're going to pull 2 names out. We're going to give away 2 Juggernauts and 2 Kegulators. So if you have your smartphone here, I encourage you to do that.
Like us on Facebook, share the post.
Okay, good job, Nick. Thank you.
Sorry, Julie.
No, that's okay. You're good. Okay, now, this is impressive. So questions for Nick? Questions for Nick?
I got a question for you, Nick.
Yeah.
I can be loud up. Nick, I love your product. We sell it. There's also another awesome competitor in our market. What makes your product different and unique from Hydro Flask?
What makes your product different and unique from Hydro Flask?
Thanks, Scott. Okay, we got a couple different features. Mainly, we have a lid accessory system that lets you charge and dispense out of your product. Our double bale enclosure system is designed to hold up to 60 pounds of pressure, and we guarantee the vessel will never leak.
Great.
Dishwasher safe, too.
And dishwasher safe. Sorry, Julie.
Okay. Other questions? Erin? What's the biggest problem you see coming out of the future?
Managing growth. It's just as dangerous to grow as fast as we're growing as it is to not grow.
Yeah, great. Brian?
Yeah, so I went into your facility probably before there were 18 people doing that. I'm wondering where you put everyone.
Where do you put everyone in your facility? It sounds like it's crowded.
That's a great question. Do you have any room in your garage, Brian? Literally, the team has been very, very supportive of giving up their workspace. We're in 5 buildings. Thank you, Karen, for letting us store inventory in your building. We are seeking a building at the moment, yes.
Yeah, great. Nick, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Great. Do you want these guys?
Yeah. We're going to give 2 names here real quick.
Okay, we're going to give them away, I guess. So you ready to give them? Do you want me to sing the Jeopardy theme?
Could you? That'd be great.
Do, 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 do. We can give it away at the end if that would be helpful to you. We'll give them away at the end. Just remind me, raise your hand, and we'll give them away before we close the program, okay? All right, great. Okay, so things are moving and shaking, and I noticed Nick mentioned something about 128 ounces of Jameson's in that growler. It's kind of stunning. I would like to insert something parenthetically here that Rita Hansen, the CEO at Onboard Dynamics, is in the audience. Rita, where are you? There she is. Okay, you want to stand up? And we always have these surprises at Pubtalk, and Rita has some fantastic funding news that she'd like to share with you when the program is over. So please find Rita if you'd like to find out the surprise information from her. Yeah, go see Rita. So I want to go now to our keynote speaker, Michael Mack. Michael is passionate about helping organizations attain their full potential. He coaches talented leaders. He works with CEOs to conceive and execute winning strategies for their organizations. Oh, and he co-founded Garden Fresh, one of the country's most successful restaurant chains, including Soup Plantation and Sweet Tomatoes. Let's hear more about his path. Michael?
So I'm putting some ideas together here. If I finish my growler this evening, I'll definitely have to go pee. I'll need a night light so I can, well orchestrated. By the way, you and your friends, I've seen a million pitches. That was awesome. Off the chart. I've seen a million. That was really incredible. Beyond the product, you guys have we'll talk. If I need to raise money again, you're on my list. So what I would like to do with you tonight is not talk a lot about the mechanics of my business, Garden Fresh Restaurants, but I'd like to share with you some of the lessons I learned. I made every mistake you can imagine, and I'll share a couple of those. I did many of them several times, and I'm a slow learner, and I think that'll be by the way, how many of you in this room have started a company, would like to start a company, are kind of in that category? Yeah, so look around. Absolutely amazing, the entrepreneurial mix within this audience. So a little bit about my restaurant company. This was Soup Plantation and Sweet Tomatoes were the same concept, just different brand names. Essentially, it was a soup and salad buffet taken to a grand scale in terms of size and quality. And when it was started, there was nothing quite like it. Just some details about the business. I grew it from 2 to 130 restaurants. We were in 15 states, every quadrant except the Northeast. I had, at the peak, about $330 million in sales, $40 million in EBITDA, and over 6,000 employees. So it was a sizable company. I went through 4 rounds of venture financing. I took the company public. I was public for 10 years. I did 2 public offerings. I took it private, and then I flipped it again in another private equity transaction, and then left in 2012 from the company. Probably the thing I'm most proud of is that we had 16 consecutive years of positive same-store sales, which is the most important statistic as a publicly held restaurant company. And to my knowledge, the only 2 companies that have exceeded that are Panera and Chipotle, and unfortunately Chipotle's having some challenges right now with their stuff. We all wish them well, and they'll figure it out. Perhaps more interesting about my company, we served 36 million guests a year. They consumed approximately 13 million blueberry muffins, 900 gallons of chicken noodle soup, and 32 million pounds of produce. I help keep America regular. So let me talk a little bit about the beginning. I worked for a company called Bain & Company, and if some of you know that name, Mitt Romney made it a lot more known in this country. Bain was a strategy consulting firm that started in the late 70s. I worked for them for 6 years, and I was in their London office. And I think many entrepreneurial ventures start with some of these same dynamics, disenchantment, passion, clarity of mission, and I'll add a fourth in a moment. So while I was in the London office of Bain & Company, my partner and I decided that we were interested in running a company. We felt that Bain & Company was losing its entrepreneurial tone and enthusiasm, and we were clear that what we wanted to do was form a different type of organization. We saw some things going on in corporate America and the clients that we had in Europe, and we decided there needed to be a change in the way things happened. And so we had disenchantment. We had a passion to do something different. We were clear about our mission, which was so vitally important. And then the last ingredient was alcohol. We were very, very drunk one night in London when we conceived this plan. We got on a plane the next morning and flew to San Diego, actually to LA, because that's where there was a restaurant that we wanted to copy. We arrived in LA very hungover. On a Friday afternoon. We hadn't timed it very well. For those of you who have driven from LA to San Diego, you know that that's a bit of a shit fight. And because we'd been out of the country for 3 years, we forgot to check the holiday schedule, and we landed in LAX at about 3 in the afternoon on a Friday afternoon, which was Memorial Day weekend. So we were a couple of angry guys when we arrived in San Diego. Mostly me angry at my partner. In any event, we saw 2 restaurants that we absolutely fell in love with. We started to copy them, and this is where the mission was so important. We realized that we were fools, and so we bought the 2 existing restaurants from the founders, and that became the start of Garden Fresh Restaurants, which we then proceeded to grow. I will tell you, for those of you who are in the process of starting a company or have started one, absolutely nothing went according to plan. Absolutely nothing went according to plan. And there are many days when we said, we're nuts, we should go back to consulting, this doesn't make any sense. But each time that happened, we would spend one more day pursuing our vision, pursuing our mission, just taking one more step forward, and invariably something else opened up because of that step that we didn't see before. So fast forward, some things went extraordinarily well for us. We grew very, very rapidly, and I want to come back to this concept of hypergrowth and growth in a minute. But we stumbled, and we stumbled badly. We had a venture board, they were unhappy with us, and I asked my partner to leave. It was probably the most difficult decision I ever made. Sorry, he's a dear friend to this day, and he's ill, so we wish him well. But I asked him to leave because I felt I was the best person to run the company at that point in time, which was true. And I orchestrated a turnaround of the company and failed to really maintain my relationship with my board members and my shareholders. And so despite this rather miraculous turnaround in performance, I got a phone call telling me that I was fired from the company that I had created. And it was not done very professionally, and it was very painful and very difficult for me. And I mention this because it was one of the most profound learning experiences of my life, because one of the key values of my company became accountability. And as I kind of evaluated what had happened, and there was a period of time, I said, well, what the hell were you thinking? Look at the performance. I changed it. It's fantastic. I realized that I treated my board members and my shareholders badly, that I had behaved with great arrogance, and if I was them, I would have fired my ass too. That bit of acknowledgement on my part that understanding of what I orchestrated allowed me to repair my relationships. I remained on the board, and 3 years later, the same board of directors hired me back. Now, to my knowledge, there is only one other CEO in corporate America to whom that has happened. We never talked about it, but I'm actually quite proud of what I accomplished, and I like to say the board made the right decision both times. Now, that process of coming back into the company as CEO with a board that had once fired you was very interesting. I liken it to getting back with an old girlfriend or perhaps an old boyfriend that you've broken up with rather bitterly. And you get back together and you just, God, the sex is fabulous for about 2 weeks. And then you wake up one morning and you remember how much you hate that person. And why you broke up in the first place. Well, that happened. And I have to give myself credit and my board credit for recognizing that and just handling it differently. And after a reasonably brief period of time, I took the company public, and it was time for them to move on. And I brought in another board, who, by the way, eventually tried to fire me as well. But there's a small problem with authority in my life. So, Julie, like that. Let me talk about some of the things that I think were foundationally important to the success of Garden Fresh and really to my development as a leader. At the time I founded the company, there were a number of CEOs, those of us who were baby boomers, who were looking at corporate America and saying, I want to do something a little different. And this was the mission part of what I wanted to do, and what I'd seen at Bain & Company was the failure of companies to really capture the hearts of the people that worked in their organizations. And because of that, there was a tremendous loss in productivity and motivation and creativity. And so without really having the language around that, I was deeply committed to having an organization that felt trusted, respected, challenged by their job, but supported in being able to do it and do it well. That they would leave work from my company and go home and most days be able to say they were not just satisfied or they liked their job, but they had a sense of fulfillment. And so people like John Mackey at Whole Foods and Howard Schultz at Starbucks and myself, I just didn't get my company quite as big, we recognized that the foundational thing we wanted our company to have was a sense of purpose that transcended the transaction. It wasn't just about selling a great meal at a great price. Yes, we needed to do that. But to those of us who thought that way, that was the ante to play. We wanted our employees to have a phenomenal experience. We wanted our guests to be happy that they came in and experience something that went beyond what they paid for it. So, a great sense of purpose. We also believed in having clear values, simple one-word values: integrity, respect, passion. And the importance of the values is that they provided guidelines for behavior in every decision that we made. And they result in what we've now come to call a self-governing organization, which is phenomenal in terms of performance, because it means that I have a restaurant manager who I don't have to supervise quite as much, and I can allow to make a lot of decisions. So I save money, I get higher quality decisions, and I've got a man or young man or woman who feels far more fulfilled and challenged by their job because they are able to exercise authority that they didn't get in other companies. So that body of work is John Mackey wrote a book, and it's come to be called conscious capitalism, or I like to call it purpose-driven capitalism. And now the research is showing the companies that operate on that basis outperform substantially their peers in almost every industry. The last thing that was, I think, foundational, and the young man from just spoke. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of your firm. I'm sorry, one before. Steady Budget. This thoughtfulness about his relationship with his previous company. I put many of my vendors in business. There was not acrimony or fighting or challenge between my vendors. We shared all of our economics. This is how much we make on your product. This is how much you make. How's your business going? We really work together in great partnership. And so this combination of purpose and values and partnership with your vendors in a very holistic way is that body of work called conscious capitalism. So it became and as I realized what I wanted my organization, there was not this, all of you out there need to do this. What very quickly occurred is that it came back to me and how I needed and wanted to develop as a leader in order to be able to do that. But there were some mistakes along the way. In addition to being fired, I did a number of things badly. One of which was grow too quickly. One of my characteristics is I'm kind of ready, fire, aim. And so if I think I've got it about halfway figured out, I'm ready to roll. Build restaurants, buy real estate. Let's do it. We'll figure out as we go. And so I really overstretched the company several times. And so I've really come to appreciate that hypergrowth, as attractive as it is only for those who are very, very clear about their strategy, have put in place an incredible foundation for their company, and most people underestimate it by a magnitude of 3. And then you need a really, really skilled operator in order to execute a hypergrowth strategy. It's going on in the restaurant business right now, all the fledgling concepts that are taking advantage of the fast casual trends and some of the eating trends with much healthier food are trying to be bi-coastal. They don't have the bandwidth to do it, and it's been proven over and over, and so there's going to be some disasters. There are a few of us who've screwed it up enough times that we could help them do it, but I would never make that type of investment. It doesn't pay off strategically. I think the second thing that I would say is a mistake, and I made this one several times, is there is always this tendency to seek steady state, to get things kind of calmed down, and that is death. That is absolute death. And so you say, well, what is the antidote? Disruption? No, it's not that at all. There's what's it called? Second law of thermodynamics. It basically says in any system, the capacity of that system to generate energy will diminish over time. It will lose its effectiveness. Well, what the hell does that mean? Well, I believe that a brand, a company, a culture, even a leader is a system. And without some injection of energy, that system will diminish over time in terms of its effectiveness. It's a lot like a glass of lemonade that's at room temperature. And you put a couple ice cubes in it, and wow, stuff happens. The ice melts, the lemonade comes up to down to a cooler temperature, and it's amazingly refreshing. My God, what a change on a hot summer day. But eventually the ice melts, and everything is exactly the same temperature, and there is no more change going on. And when we seek steady state, as a leader, as a brand, as a company, we run the risk of becoming like that glass of lemonade where the ice is melted. So the answer is to be clear about your purpose and to be purposefully disruptive. It's like when Howard Schultz came back into Starbucks and he took his executive team, and I don't know if I've got the story right, but go with me. He took his executive team into the roasting plant and he opened up a bag of coffee beans and he stuck his hands into it and he brought it up to his face and he smelled it and he made each executive in the room smell it. He said, "This is what our company is about, and we've lost it. And that became one of the most remarkable turnarounds in corporate history in the way he has led Starbucks. That's the disruption that I think we all need to bring to our business lives. And, bonus, bring it to your personal life as well. The last lesson that I would talk about, and then I'll open it up to questions, would be this concept of work-life balance. When I was fired the first time, my daughter was born 3 months later, and so I had this. One of the real blessings in being fired was I was home with her for the first year, and as an entrepreneur, that never would have happened. And so she's now 24, and it's created an amazing bond. So thank you for firing me. But as I went back to work, there was this, how do I spend time with my family and struggle and the balance, and I came to hate this word balance because it implies a zero-sum game. You're always missing somewhere. You're trying to walk this fine line of perfection, and it's bullshit. And so what I decided to do was just be very clear about what was my criteria to be a good father. What did that look like? And what did it look like to be a good husband? And what did it look like to be a good leader? And whatever role I was in, that was my intention. And I was never in balance. But I was a good father, I was a good husband, and I was a good leader. And I'll give you one example, and I'll close with this. I traveled a lot, left early, came home late. And so it was sometimes difficult to find time with my daughter. But what I did each morning when I was home, and I would say goodbye to her, and I'd say goodbye to her as if it was the last time I would see her, ever. Not in any morbid sense, not in any sense of foreboding, but just so I could connect with her in that moment. And that would be an amazing part of my day and would frequently carry me for hours and hours. And that type of intentionality can make a big difference in how we manage this work-life dynamic. So, with that, I'll open it up to questions, and
Thank you.
Julie will moderate that for me.
Yeah, thank you. So questions. Thank you very much. It's great. So if someone wants to become a purposefully disruptive ninja, what 2 things would you recommend?
Not to use the word ninja. I've you guys missed it. When I started, I said you were awesome. Thank you. And I've seen a tremendous number of pitches all over the world, and you guys you nailed it. Yeah, you. I'm watching you. So. Thank you. I've spent a great deal of time learning how to be the best leader I can be. It's a bit of an obsession, and so I've looked at just about everything that's out there, and there's a lot of great things about how to do this and how to do that. But I'm going to give you something that's been foundational in my life, and it's really boring. But if you spend some time with it, it'll be valuable. There are 3 principles that are interrelated that I think drive leadership and drive this idea of being purposeful. One is profound self-awareness. Do you know yourself well? Do you understand how you're perceived by people? Are you really, really, really willing to understand how you function in the world and relate to things? 2, are you willing to be accountable? And I don't mean just responsible, but willing to see that whatever circumstance you're in, you created it, and therefore you have the opportunity to change it. And the last is to be really, really clear about what you want. And I don't mean just a new BMW or new skis or new ski boots, which is what I want, but what you want out of life and why things have meaning to you. And if you begin to study those foundational tools, then I think it's a lot easier for you to become purposeful. It is not a place of arrival. It is a place of constant progress and learning.
Thank you. I will stop using the word ninja also. Go ahead.
Too violent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael, you cited or referenced the research that kind of states that self-governing, value-driven, purpose-driven cultures in organizations are great for shareholders, great for stakeholders,
Yeah.
Internal and external. Why are the companies that you cited so much the exception rather than the rule that we see out there?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, what's the last thing in the world a publicly held, the CEO of a publicly held company wants to do? Even scarier than that, be vulnerable. And so in order to create these types of cultures, you've got to demonstrate that you care about people. You've got to be willing to admit that you make mistakes. You've got to let people see your heart. There's got to be transparency. And you've got to be courageous enough to make decisions that in the short run may not make the most sense from a dollars and cents point of view, but in the long run are the right thing to do for your employees, for your customers, for your vendors, and for the brand, for the success of the venture. And Wall Street hounds you not to make those decisions. They hound you not to make those decisions. And that's the fundamental flaw with Wall Street. And it takes a really courageous CEO not to succumb to that.
So one last question? Yeah.
So you mentioned that your career with your company was like 16 years, and I've heard a lot of stories about entrepreneurs growing the company and then supposed to sell like within 10 years and move on to something else. What kept you coming back to that same company over and over again, and why didn't you go on and do something different?
So you had a lot of longevity with your company, and why did you keep coming back rather than pursuing other avenues or possibilities?
It's an interesting question because I thought about quitting and moving on frequently. Every time I considered that, I went back to self-awareness, accountability, and intentionality, and I said, what is it that you want, Michael? What is it that you're seeking in that new thing? And it was always available right where I was, if I was willing to step into it. And moving on to the next thing, I wasn't going to get it unless I was willing to step into it. So why not step into it right where I am? And so I changed my relationship to my role as CEO several times over the time that I was there. And that provided me more growth as a leader than... Remember I talked earlier about how we seek stability? One of the reasons I think people change jobs is because they've kind of run the course of their ice cubes. They've cooled the lemonade, and so now they're going to go do it somewhere else. That's a great time to say, what am I really doing? And what's the next step for me, and what can I learn about myself and how I lead and manage? So, I'm not sure I got it right, by the way.
Other questions? Aaron? What are you doing now?
Oh, man.
There we go.
So I started a company called 2M Spaces, which is really designed to advise CEOs about their leadership, about their culture, and about the brand. One of my clients really screwed up his company, and it is in a free fall, and so I've stepped in as interim CEO. So we are in the midst of equity funding, relatively small, negotiating with the lender, and trying to prevent foreclosure and bankruptcy. So I am 24/7. I mean, it is, I talked to Brian. I really wanted to keep this commitment, but I'm having a lot of fun, but it is madness. It is madness. So it feels good to be running a company again and leading a much smaller organization and trying to give them a future.
Okay. One last question for the good of the order. Have somebody have a question over here? Rita?
No, Michael, what one thing would you recommend to a CEO of a startup leading this crazy life to read?
What one thing would you recommend to a CEO leading this crazy life to read?
I have 50 unfinished books. Probably The Corporate Mystic. It can be hard to find. No. Firms of Endearment.
Forms of Endearment.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Michael, thank you so much. We have this gift for you. This is a McMenamin's Pubtalk. What do you call this? Tankard? It's not as it's a stein. It's not as big as the 2,000 ounce growler that we saw.
Yeah.
But when you come back, if you bring this, they will fill it up with beer or with water.
How often can I come back?
To the Pubtalk. Every time you come to the Pubtalk, they will fill it
I
up.
thought I could. Great, thank
Come
you.
every day. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Got a fan club. You know, these evenings are always really, really varied, which I so appreciate. And I just want to talk about a couple things that are coming up here. January kicks off at least 6 straight months of nonstop pub talk. And the show will go on the road in April in Redmond. We're coming your way. But otherwise, we'll be right here at McMenamin's. Don't wait to register, as this has become pretty regular that it sells out. So if you have a chance to get your tickets in advance, that's a good thing. Edco and Diane Allen are offering some pitch coaching starting on February 18th. And you could see Diane for further information about that. And then the Edco annual luncheon, a Central Oregon business tradition, has been set for Thursday, March 10th at the River House Convention Center. And I can say this is really a great event. When I was considering moving over to Central Oregon, I attended a few events in stealth mode, and I went to the business lunch and met a lot of the people that have become really key connections for me here in Central Oregon in the 3 years that I've been here now. And finally, I don't know if you recall this, but when 10 Barrel came, the guys from 10 Barrel came and spoke last time, and there was a little bit of controversy about that, and they came and spoke, and I said, in the words of a famous philosopher, Taylor Swift, the player's gonna play, and the hater's gonna hate, but baby, I'm just gonna shake it off, kind of encouraging them to have that as their theme song. And so recently, and I wanted to make you all aware of this, Cascade Angels for the 2016 fund has an open application period for entrepreneurs seeking funding. And Kelly Kearsley, who has been just so great with the entrepreneurial scene here, wrote a blog about our announcement of the funding cycle. And so with deep apologies to Adele and great thanks to Kelly, I'd like to share with you Cascade Angels' theme song, and maybe this can become your theme song too. Hello, it's me. And then you go on and on, right? And then it's like, hello from the funding side. I was going to scream it out, but I just don't think I can do that. It doesn't hurt to apply. Cascade Angels has money to invest in our state, so give it a try, and it just may be great. So if you're a launch stage company and you're seeking funding, Cascade Angels has a site on Gust, and you can look at that. So each time I try to bring you a story, a song, some data, this is my closing. And I think that for us this year, our theme song will be, hello, it's me. So drive safe, everyone. Thanks for coming. Okay, now we got to give the drink tank away. You ready? Okay. Drum roll.
Patrick Young.
Patrick Young.
No? Here? Gone?
He's right here in the back. He's on
Oh, he's on crutches.
Okay, Patrick Young. And second?
All right. Is Shelly Brickstrom here?
It's your night for vessels. Hey, the other thing is for the speakers that pitched tonight, we have some mugs up here from Zolo Media. And if you'd like to talk to any of the founders that pitched tonight, please come up front and find them and have a conversation.